Who here has heard that smoking causes lung cancer? Everyone's heard that smoking causes lung cancer. Has anyone heard that cell phone usage causes brain cancer? Yeah. Has anyone heard that? Yeah. So there have been some studies on that as well. Does anyone know how they might have found out whether smoking causes lung cancer? And does anyone know how they might be trying to find out how cell phone usage may or may not cause brain cancer? John, do you have an answer?
Perhaps causation?
So yeah, they'll do causation studies. And so, just for the record, so far they haven't found out that cell phone usage causes brain cancer, so don't worry, but they're still investigating this. And so how they'll investigate this is they'll take two variables. Now, who knows what variables or variation might mean? Does anyone have a definition of variation for me?
Sure. Maybe different factors that could cause the cancer?
Variables, different factors, sure. And so an example of using variation in a sentence might be, there was a wide variation in scores on the last test. Some people did well, other people did poorly. So variation just means a difference or a change. And so a variable is just something that you can change. And so in the case of smoking and lung cancer, the two variables, smoking and lung cancer. Has anyone ever heard independent or dependent variable? Anyone ever heard of that? You might have heard it in previous classes. You might have spoken about that in previous science classes. And so when you're doing an experiment between two variables, between two things that can change, one thing is the independent variable. That's the thing that you control. The other thing is the dependent variable, which depends on the independent variable. So let's take the case of my lectures versus students sleeping in class. So we can figure out whether boring lectures make students sleep in class. So which do you think is the independent variable here? Which can I control? The lectures, right. Because I can make a lecture boring and I can make it very exciting. I can control that. And so when I'll do an experiment, I'll do a couple of boring lectures and I'll observe how many of you guys are sleeping, because I can tell when you guys are sleeping, even you might not know. Then I'll compare that to exciting lectures and how many students are sleeping. If there's a difference, then we might say that the independent variable, the exciting lectures, cause you guys to stay awake more often. And so whenever we're doing an experiment, we're going to have an independent variable, we're going to have something that we change, and we're going to have a dependent variable. We're going to have something that depends on that. So in the case of cell phone usage and brain cancer, John, what would be the independent variable?
Would be the cell phone usage.
The cell phone usage, because you can control the cell phone usage, and then you observe whether or not there's more brain cancer. And so that's how scientists right now are doing experiments to try to figure out whether there's any relationship between cell phone usage and brain cancer. And again, no. Alright, so to help you remember the difference between independent and dependent variables, they're similar words, they're easy to confuse. We're going to sing a little song, and you guys might know this song, but this song is just to help remind you that independent variables, you can change them, you can do whatever you want. Dependent variables depend on the independent variables. You might say they lean on the independent variables. And so, John and Derek, what I want you guys to sing is, I just need somebody to lean on. Austin and I will sing Lean On Me. So who here is the independent, who here is the dependent variable? Austin, what are we? Lean on me.
Independent?
We're the independent variables. You guys are leaning on us, you're the dependent variables, alright? And so on three, I want you guys to sing, I just need somebody to lean on. Alright, 1, 2, 3.
I just need somebody to lean on.
Lean on me.